Hi, I'm Paul Johnston. Welcome to Two Wheels and welcome to sunny Spain, but I'll tell you a little bit more of why I'm here right at the end of the show. Because first this week, Jeff takes a ride on Harley Davidson's very latest masterpiece. Of course, it's the V-Rod, a very different looking machine and a bike which Harley are hoping will attract a whole new breed of rider. Also this week we send guest presenter Laura Snook down to Birmingham's NEC to check out this year's Autosport International. I'll see you later.
Now you ask any member of the public to name you a motorbike and pound to a pinch of salt, they're going to say Harley Davidson. But to many bikers, Harleys are a bit strange, a bit of a cult thing, a bit of an acquired taste. But Harley aren't daft, they know these things, and as product director Bill Davidson said, this is a bike for those people who always wanted a Harley but didn't like the bikes. Yes, it really is a Harley Davidson. It says so on the tank. But this is like no other Harley you've ever seen. Well, not from the factory anyway. The V-Rod's low, it's long, it's mean, but that's not all. It's fast. Yes, fast because it's got this brand new engine, the Revolution engine as Harley call it. Gone is the old 45-degree engine, this one is a 60-degree, you can see it there. But not only that, it's liquid cooled, first time it's been liquid cooled. Actually based on the VR1000 racer that they developed. But this one's had some extra tweaks by Porsche because they've had experience of going from air cooled to water cooled, so they applied it to this. It's double overhead camshaft, 4 valve cylinder heads, it's got fuel injection, balancer shafts, it's all very, very high tech, 1130cc. Brilliant engine, and doesn't it look a treat? It's got these little fins on the top there on the heads, but that's to give it a bit of sort of authenticity and a bit of a link with the past, but I think it looks absolutely terrific. One thing they have retained is belt drive to the rear wheel. No dirty chains to spoil all this alloy. But back to that engine, and it's a cracker. Bags of low down torque, but that's not all. 115 brake horsepower means it delivers nearly twice the power of the normal Harley. And it'll rev to 9,000 revs. It also means it'll top out at close on 140 miles an hour. Quick enough for most, probably too quick for many a traditional hog owner. A liquid-cooled engine obviously needs a radiator, and here's the radiator. I can see quite clearly the honeycomb down the back here. It's got two parts, the liquid-cooled part and the oil cooler down the bottom there. But the interesting thing is, down the centre there, the radiator's actually blanked off, as you can probably see, to stop any muck getting in it. So what it's got is these big scoops round the side with these very trick vortices there. So it picks up the air, scoops it round into a full-size radiator, which runs right across, but the centre is blanked off, as I said, very clever, keeps all the muck out of it. Front and rear wheels are both solid aluminium, and the disc is mounted straight onto the wheel. The brakes themselves have got 4-pot calipers with braided brake hoses. The forks have massive 49mm diameter stanchions and are raked out at 38 degrees, but with a 34-degree head angle, that manages to reduce the trail. The frame is an absolute symphony of steel tubes, ebbing and flowing around the engine. It's actually formed by hydroforming, a special process Harley developed, where they use water pressure after the actual bending of the tubes. Similarly, the exhaust use an elastomer forming process where a rubbery foam is used to actually form those magic sweeping curves. The brushed aluminium tank isn't a tank at all, it's a cover for the airbox. The actual petrol tank lives down under the seat. The rear mudguard is again sculpted aluminium, and that fits over a solid rear wheel and again a solid disc, and it's all suspended by a beautiful cast aluminium swinging arm. Now, something else the traditionalists might not approve of is this styling, but like it or loathe it, you've got to admit it's pretty stunning. But style without function is pretty pointless, and the V-Rod certainly puts the funky into function. It'll launch off the line like the drag bike it looks, or pootle along at 2,000 revs, take a handful, and it blats forward like a steam train, accompanied by what must be a barely legal bark from those beautiful low-slung pipes. Wow, what a bike. But that's because, with these foot-forward footrests, the first thing that's going to touch the deck is your heel. See if you see that? You're way down there. Now this for a cruiser is pretty good. Well, it's a sports cruiser, performance cruiser, isn't it? So it's not as bad as some where you scrape them on every little bend. This isn't as bad as that. Another thing you've got here, nice low seat height, 660mm, that's all, so I feel almost as though I'm sitting on the floor. It's sort of knee high to a grasshopper, but it's great. You feel very, very planted on it, so if you're short of leg, absolutely brilliant. Coming up here though, this is the sort of the cockpit, the pilot's eye view. See this, the way this actually grows out of the headstock up here, or the triple tree as Harley like to call it, this headstock. It actually swoops up out of the top, and then you've got this nice little binnacle here. Speedo in the middle, rev counter on the left, fuel on the right. Really very, very neat. Nicely styled. Hydraulic clutch on this for the first time on a Harley. And look at all the engineering on it. It's all in silver, of course, but nice chunky levers. Some people have said the clutch is a bit heavy, but it's not. It is a Harley. You want to give it a nice macho feel, don't you? So it's not over heavy. It just feels nice. They're nicely finished. The indicators are very neat as well, and for those of you who don't know Harleys, these are different to the run-of-the-mill bike as well. You push on that one there to go left, you see the old light coming up in there, in the Speedo, push on it again to cancel. Same with the right-hand one, push there, push again to cancel. Now, I think that's pretty good, and it's better than BMW's setup. So it's all very neat. The mirrors themselves, very good. You see a clear view behind, nice oval shape, again finished in this silver. And it's really pretty good. This screen, by the way, is an optional screen. One of the many, many extras that you get. So you get this sports screen and you get that little cover there over the headlamp. It's great. The V-Rod comes in silver with aluminium or aluminium with silver. Same thing, but it's got loads of style, whichever way you say it. So much style that all this year's allocation has been sold. Still, if you want one in 2003, get your order in now. It'll cost you just a fiver under £14,000.
You know, they're okay, them Harley Davidson things, aren't they? That's a nice bike, that V-Rod, isn't it? But I wouldn't fancy cleaning one of them after a wet, windy, miserable ride down the M1, would you? Maybe you would. Tell us what you think. Tell us whether you would or you wouldn't. Tell us anything you'd like to know about biking, things you'd like us to know. Ask us some questions. It's dead simple. All you need to do is join in with our bike forum. It's on the website www.menandmotors.co.uk. If you were looking to buy a new bike, then there's a number of places to go. Perhaps a main dealer with a nice warm showroom. Maybe the classified adverts of the motorcycle press, or even your local paper. But there is another way, a motorcycle auction.
We're at a motorcycle auction. Who do we need to speak to? The auction manager, Brian Ball.
Hi.
Hi, Brian. What does it cost to buy or sell a bike through here?
If you were entering, we'd need an entry fee of £15 off you and £35 if it's sold. That's plus sub VAT. And if you were selling with, as a buyer, you would need £55 plus the VAT, which gives you clear title to the vehicle. So if it was either stolen and recovered on the HPI register or still outstanding on finance, if we can give you clear title to it, then there's a £55 fee.
You can ride away and it's guaranteed to be
Ride
yours.
away.
We've got about 150 bikes here tonight. What would you expect through the year?
This would be an average at this time of the year. We've had as many as 290 bikes, and as little as in the second part of the month, which is a quieter time, slightly quieter, I would expect around about 130, 140 bikes.
That's great. What sort of warranty would you be offering with a bike that's bought through the auction?
There's no warranty. What you see is what you get. But if it's sold with a trial, then you can sell it. It's with 1 hour after the end of the sale. So we start at 6 this evening, and the sale finishes at 9:30. You have till 10:30 in order to declare that it's not mechanically sound as described by the auctioneer on the entry form.
Right. What's the strangest bike you've had through? What's the oddest lot you've ever seen?
The oddest lot was one that was recovered from the finance company out of the canal, and both front and back wheels were touching.
Brian, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the podium later.
Okay, thanks very much.
There's all sorts of bikes here tonight and all kinds of sellers, everything from private individuals selling their own bikes to major finance houses selling mid-term cancellations and repossessions. We're going to talk to somebody tonight who would normally be selling through the auctions, but tonight is here to buy. This is Frank Hayes from CMC. Hi, what are you here looking for tonight, Frank?
Well, we've had a very, very good market. This year's been all about used bikes, and we've just simply run out of stock, and we're looking for good quality bikes that we can give to our customers.
Anything particular you're looking at tonight? Any of the bikes really stand out for you?
Well, it's surprising. The customer is become so wide. Everybody's looking for the cruisers and the sports bikes. The top end of the market's gone a little bit down, but the mid-range is still there, so that's what we're looking for.
So if you fancy a different kind of night out and you don't mind spending a few cold hours rooting through the bikes, then give the auction a try. You might just pick up a bargain. Well, it's time to take a little break now on this week's show, but we'll be back very soon when we'll be travelling to Birmingham's NEC with guest presenter Laura Snook to check out the action at this year's Autosport show.
The NEC for the Autosport Show 2002. Now, if you've visited the show in recent years, you've probably come to see things like this: the ballistic Beetle, the scintillating Supersport. But this year there's been a bit of a change. No longer is it simply 4 wheels under the roof. This year we've got 2 wheels too. So what's on the menu? With top race teams, brand new bikes and some of the best motorcycle magazines on the market, it's a bit like an NEC bike show that's been shrunk in the wash. So if you want to see some of the action, walk this way. Now, it's a good job my Visa card's been cancelled, because with bargains like this at the show, I could go bankrupt very quickly. As a matter of fact, I think I might. I'm off to rob someone. If you're still at school, probably the most exciting thing that could happen is getting a letter from Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry telling you you've been accepted, right? Wrong. Plucked from hundreds of would-be racers, 17-year-old Guy Farbrother and 15-year-old Michael Midge Smart are the 2 newly signed riders in the youngest and most exciting team in this year's 125 British Championships, the Red Bull rookie team. Certainly beats buzzing about on broomsticks.
Extremely excited. I mean, this is just what I've been wanting for so long. You know, do some serious racing and try and make the most of it, get a career, that sort of thing. I don't like the idea of 4-stroke, but I definitely want to be doing that. That's my goal.
Well, when we found out that I was in, I was really happy, and they told me that I was teammates with Guy, and that was even better. And to be able to do the British Championship next year, it's really good, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do it, because we couldn't afford to pay the amount of money.
You're 15 now. Give it another 10 years. Where would you like to see yourself?
MotoGP World Champion.
Winning a World Sidecar Championship once is impressive. Winning it 8 times is almost showing off. Here's the man in question, Steve Webster. Steve, what are you up to here today?
We're just doing a few demonstration laps here and a bit of interviews in the Thunderdome. As you can hear, there's all sorts going on in the background. And we're here with our Formula 1 bike, which we're going to use for this year's World Championship.
Now, Formula 1 is pretty frightening stuff when it comes to being on 2 wheels and having someone sat at your left knee. What kind of performance are we talking about here?
Talking about 200 brake horsepower, top speed of about 170 miles an hour, something like that, and tremendous G-force cornering, braking forces. It's quite scary when you're in there.
Quite a fitness regime you must have to keep up with, I should imagine.
Oh yes, every morning one sock then the other one.
A man after my own heart. Steve, it's lovely to see you here today. What can we expect from you in the next year?
I'd like to think we can get our World Championship back. Klaus Kloffenbach won it last year, so currently we're second in the championship. And I'd like to hope that make it 9 and then let's go on for 10. Let's get in double figures. That'd be a good one, wouldn't it?
That's my boy. Steve, thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Make no mistake, if the MV Agusta were a man, I'd marry it tomorrow, and it'd probably be the best ride of my life. best-loved bike racers. He came fourth in this year's World Supersport Championship, and he's the drummer with the Po Boys. But it's clear that Jamie Whittam has been looking to make some sort of career move for a while. Who'd have thought that that career move would have seen him taking to the karting track, racing for charity? Mr. Whittam, fancy seeing you here, but where are your leathers? What are you doing?
I had to trade my leathers in today for some second-hand, rather sweaty-smelling car overalls and a really ill-fitting, cheap plastic helmet because they've requisitioned me for a kart race today, a charity kart race.
Now you're competing against some pretty big names. I understand Mr. Coulthard is here. We've got one of our old buddies, Mr. Mackenzie. How do you think you're going to fare against them?
Yeah, all right. I think I've done a little bit of kart racing and a little bit of car racing. We've also got one or two other celebs. We've got Mr. Richard Dunwoody, the jockey. But the main thing is that I beat the other bike racers here.
Well, we certainly hope so. Now, you've had an incredible year last year, didn't you? Bit of a difficult start, finished up fourth in the World Supersport Championships. What can we expect to see from you this year?
Well, really, I'm with the same team, same bike, same everything, same tyres. And really, I hope to start 2002 the same way as I finished 2001, which, like you say, I had 4 non-scores last year, all at the beginning of the year, and then clawed my way back to fourth in the championship. And if I can start the way I finished last year, I'll be up for the championship, I think.
Well, Mr. Whittam is one of Britain's best. We certainly wish you the best of luck. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks a lot.
You'll never guess what I found here today. Skulking on the sidelines is 3 times British Superbike champion Neil Mackenzie. Neil, I love the gloves. It looks like we've caught you in the middle of a spot of gardening. What are you doing here today?
Well, I actually walked in the door with my anorak on to have a browse around some of the stands. I'm a bit of a car anorak at heart, but I was hastily taken to the go-kart race where I was actually a bit of a late entry.
Now, you're a bit of an old-timer. We've got a young whippersnapper on the track, Mr. Jamie Whittam. What do you think of his driving so far?
Yeah, Whittam's at least 6 months younger than me, but I was actually getting a bit concerned there because Louise Goodman was giving him a hard time for 6th place, but he's managed to shrug her off now, I see. So she was up his inside a few times. I thought, oh, he's not going to be happy with that. So he's either punted her off or brake checked her, but he's managed to get rid of her, and he looks like he's in a safe 5th at the moment.
All strong words, but I notice you're still standing on the sidelines. Are we going to see you on the track?
I will, but they're going to let me out, I think, as a novelty act at the end of this race for a few laps with a few of the other minor celebs. So yeah, I'm going to be out there at some point.
And you couldn't get much more novel than you. Neil Mackenzie, thanks ever so much.
Thank you.
Well, that was the Autosport Show 2002. As you've seen, more bikes than you can shake a giant sequoia at. Speaking of which, I'm in the hub of the motorcycling world, and this is what they make me ride home on. Wait for me!
Last time I saw something like this, it was in a Jackie Chan movie, flying through the air, chopping somebody's head off. Well, it's actually a disc, but it's a beautiful looking thing, isn't it, really? And if you're a bit of a poser, this is the sort of thing you've got to buy. Only a big version for a big sports bike. Just check this out. A beautiful lightweight carrier, anodised, with this disc on the outside. It's obviously a high performance piece of equipment, but who cares, because it looks nice. But the only problem is, it will cost you a few quid. In the case of this, you definitely won't get it for £1 and a pickled egg.
Well, that's all from Two Wheels for this week, but on next week's show, Wayne is out on a couple of scooters. And you're still wondering why I'm in Spain. Well, I'm here at the Valencia Grand Prix circuit, and we have a fleet of the world's finest superbikes to take round the track. They're all fitted with these. They're Cooper Avon's brand new range of ST and SP Azzaro tyres. We'll see you next week.